Do you ever feel overwhelmed, like you're constantly juggling responsibilities, expectations, and requests? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel pressured to say yes to everything and everyone. We are bombarded with messages and demands, leaving us feeling drained and depleted. But what if there's another way? What if the key to a more peaceful and fulfilling life lies in the power of saying no? What if setting boundaries is not selfish, but an act of self-preservation? This is the power of boundaries. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about creating healthy limits that protect our well-being and allow us to show up as our best selves. It's about recognizing that saying no to some things means saying yes to ourselves, our values, and what truly matters. Boundaries are essential for our mental health and well-being. They are the invisible lines we draw to protect ourselves from emotional, physical, and mental harm. Think of them as fences around your property. They define where your space ends and another's begins. Just like a fence protects your home, boundaries protect your inner world, your thoughts, feelings, and energy. They help us define what we are and are not responsible for, what we will and will not accept, and how we want to be treated. Without boundaries, we risk burnout, resentment, and a diminished sense of self. We become vulnerable to the demands and expectations of others, leaving us feeling depleted and overwhelmed. By setting clear boundaries, we create a safe and healthy space for ourselves to thrive. Personal boundaries are particularly important in our relationships with others. They help us establish healthy and respectful dynamics with friends, family, partners, and colleagues. These boundaries can be physical, emotional, or intellectual. Physical boundaries relate to our personal space, touch, and privacy. Emotional boundaries involve respecting our feelings, opinions, and values. Intellectual boundaries protect our thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. In any relationship, it's crucial to communicate our boundaries clearly and respectfully. This means letting others know what we are and are not comfortable with, and what we expect from them. By setting boundaries in our relationships, we create a foundation of mutual respect, understanding, and support. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-care and a gift to our relationships. When we set boundaries, we protect our mental health by reducing stress, anxiety, and resentment. We are less likely to feel overwhelmed, taken advantage of, or emotionally drained. This, in turn, allows us to show up more fully in our relationships. We have more energy, patience, and compassion to give to others when we are not constantly feeling depleted. Boundaries also foster healthier and more fulfilling relationships. When we communicate our needs and limits clearly, it allows for greater understanding and respect. It prevents misunderstandings, resentment, and conflicts that can arise from unmet expectations. By honoring our own boundaries, we teach others to do the same, creating a culture of respect and reciprocity. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe, like, and comment with your questions. We'd love to hear from you. Section 5. Setting boundaries, a practical guide to saying yes to yourself. Setting boundaries can feel daunting, especially if we're not used to asserting ourselves. However, it's a skill that can be learned and practiced with time and patience. Here are some practical strategies for setting boundaries. 1. Start by becoming aware of your own needs and limits. What are you comfortable with? What are your non-negotiables? Reflect on past experiences where you felt uncomfortable or disrespected, and consider what boundaries could have prevented those situations. 2. Once you've identified your boundaries, it's essential to communicate them clearly and respectfully to others. Use I statements to express your needs and limits, without blaming or accusing the other person. 3. Consistency is key when it comes to boundaries. It's important to enforce your boundaries consistently, even when it's difficult. If you give in to pressure or guilt trips, it sends the message that your boundaries are negotiable. Section 6. Sarah's story, finding freedom and balance through boundaries. Sarah, a dedicated nurse, always put the needs of her patients and colleagues before her own. She worked long hours, covered shifts for others, and rarely said no to any request. While she was admired for her dedication, Sarah was burning out. She felt overwhelmed, resentful, and her own health was suffering. One day, Sarah decided to make a change. She started by setting small boundaries, like taking her full lunch break and saying no to extra shifts when she needed a break. At first, it was uncomfortable, but she persisted. Gradually, Sarah began to set firmer boundaries, communicating her limits clearly and respectfully to her colleagues. To her surprise, they were supportive and understanding. Sarah's relationships improved, she had more time for herself, and her work-life balance was restored. Section 7. Embracing Boundaries. A journey of self-care and empowerment. Setting boundaries is an ongoing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. It's about learning to prioritize our well-being, honor our values, and create a life that is in alignment with our authentic selves. It's not always easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we set boundaries, we are saying yes to ourselves, our mental health, and the relationships that truly matter. We are reclaiming our time, energy, and power. Remember, setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-care and a gift to ourselves and those around us. It's a journey worth taking, one boundary at a time. Section 8. Boundaries. A universal language of respect and self-preservation. The concept of boundaries transcends cultures and beliefs, resonating with a universal desire for respect, balance, and well-being. In many ways, it aligns with the principles of balance and moderation emphasized in Islam. Just as Islam encourages Muslims to seek a harmonious balance in all aspects of life, setting boundaries is about creating equilibrium between our own needs and the needs of others. It's about recognizing our own limits and respecting the limits of others. This resonates with the Islamic emphasis on justice and fairness, treating ourselves and others with dignity and respect. Ultimately, setting boundaries is about taking responsibility for our own well-being, a concept deeply rooted in Islamic teachings that emphasize self-reflection and self-improvement. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and leave your questions in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you.